Hello, welcome to Design Patterns. So in this video, we are going to discuss the factory method pattern. So factory method pattern I already discussed in the intents of catalog of a design pattern. In the catalog of a design pattern, we discussed the intent of factory method pattern. Once again, we'll see the intent. So it defines an interface for creating an object, but let's classes decides which class to be instantiate. So when this pattern what I am saying in that catalog, so I already discussed about the abstract factory and factory method pattern. So abstract factory and factory method is the same correlated patterns, like the only differentiation is in the abstract factory pattern, the main class will take all the responsibilities, but here in the factory method pattern, so what are the subclasses which defines after the main class, that subclasses can be instantiated, which class that subclasses decides which class to be instantiated. So virtually it uses that all it virtually takes all the responsibilities, that which class to be accessed, which class to be instantiated. So that's why it is also known as virtual constructor. So here coming to the motivation. So motivation means design problem, which defining the design problem or defining the problem and also finding the solution to that particular problem. So what type of problem it defines and what type of solution it finds. So here what I highlighted with the red marks is application and document. So application is the main class and document is the subclass. So now before that, framework use abstract classes to define and maintain relationship between objects. A framework is often responsible for creating these objects as well. So this is the way to define the framework. The motivation of the main motivation of the factory method pattern, it uses abstract classes to define and maintain relationships. So abstract classes define abstract classes can be used for interface which create an object, but what are the subclasses? Like abstract class, here I am taking the application, and subclasses I am taking the document. So when that document that documents can be decided which application can be accessed. So this is the way to define this intent with motivation. Consider a framework for application that can present multiple documents to the user. So single application, but for the user they need to define the multiple documents. So two key abstractions in the framework are the classes like application class and documentation class. The factory method pattern offers a solution. So here this defines the solution. So what the solution means, it encapsulates the knowledge of which document subclass to create and moves this knowledge out of framework. Whatever the knowledge which provides from the document, and that knowledge can be moved over the framework. So this is the solution which find out in the factory method pattern as a motivation. So you only wants to remember that two key abstractions. One is application and document. So next coming to the diagram for motivation. So here see this diagram. Application defines, this is the application class which defines the create document and new document, open document as the operations. Next document class, it is a product class like product class which defines the operation as open, close, save, revert. So my applications, my document. So application to my application, document to my document. So this is the motivation diagram which follows the factory method pattern. Next coming to the applicability. So use the factory method pattern when a class can't anticipate the class of objects it must create. When a class wants its subclasses to specify the objects it creates. So this is the applicability which performs the factory method pattern. Two applicabilities where the factory method pattern is used. So whenever the class cannot anticipate the class of objects, whatever the class of objects can be created, it can't anticipate. In that situation, we'll use the factory method pattern when a class wants its subclasses to specify the object it creates. So subclasses can be created to specify that objects, what are the objects to be created. In that situation also we'll go for the factory method pattern. So this is the applicability. So next coming to the structure, the main important concept for every describing a design pattern. The structure defines the creator. Main class is creator, concrete creator, and product class is product, concrete product. In the creator, we are using the operations as factory method, operation, and an operation, generally operation, whatever we define. And in the concrete creator, the operation defines the factory method. Next, coming to the participants. So here the 4 participants will define. So see this again, the structure. So 4 participants: creator, concrete creator, product, concrete product. So product, concrete product, creator, concrete creator. By seeing the motivation diagram, you have to write the participants within the brackets. So product, in that motivation diagram there is a document. So concrete product, my document, creator, application, concrete creator, my application. So these are all the participants which are acts as classes and objects in the structure. Next, coming to the collaboration. So creator relies on its subclasses to define the factory method so that it returns an instance of the appropriate concrete products. So collaboration means what are the responsibilities that carried out by the participants. What is the main responsibilities mean? It the subclasses defines the factory method so that it returns an instance of the appropriate concrete product. So creator means application. So concrete creator or concrete product means document, my document. So it realizes every information or every subclasses can be defined as factory method. That is the main responsibility which is carried out by the creator and concrete product. So this is the collaboration. Next, coming to the consequences means results. How when this pattern is applied, when the factory method pattern is applied, what are the results faced by the user or the client? So user or the client faces the main hooks for subclasses. Hooks means connecting from main class to the subclass. It provides hooks for subclass, which class to be instantiate, next which class to be instantiate. This is the one of the results we faced by the by applying the factory method pattern. Next, it connects parallel class hierarchies. So whatever the parallel classes can be defined, that parallel class hierarchies can be connected. So that is also one of the results we faced when this pattern is applied. Next, coming to the implementation techniques or various techniques of this factory method pattern is 2 major varieties. We'll use the 2 major varieties of implementation, like one is application and second one is document. So those are all the 2 major varieties to be implemented by this factory method pattern. The other one is parameterized factory method. So what are the parameters we are using to define? So in the main class, what are the parameters? In the subclass, and my means in the factory class, what are the parameters? In the product class, what are the parameters we are using? So that is the implementation way to define the parameterized factory methods. Next, third one is language specific variants and issues. So what are the language specific variants and what are the issues? So if we take the any languages, like in that languages there is a main subtract class, and what are the specific variants in that subclasses, which class to be instantiated from the abstract class, that all can be discussed in this implementation. So next, using templates to avoid subclassing. Here we'll use the templates, nothing but a skeleton of an algorithm or skeleton of an object to avoid the subclasses. So in that way also we can implement this factory method pattern. And the last one is naming conventions. So providing a names to each and every object. So by that name we can easily access the class which class to be instantiated through that name. So that is the way, one of the way to implement the factory method. Next, coming to the sample code. So sample code we have to see, we have to write by seeing the structure. So here we'll use the main abstract class defined as public product. So next, coming to the public class concrete products extends from the product. So implement the code. Same abstract class can be defined as a public as a creator class, and in that abstract class creator class we'll use the operation method is nothing but a public abstract create factory to implement the code. Same concrete creator extends creator. So here the main function is we are using void create factory. So implement the code. So this is the sample code. Next, coming to the last but one, known uses means real-time examples for selected pattern. So for factory method pattern, so defining the document editor like C is a real-time example, real-time interface, real-time application for the factory. For every pattern, the common known use, common application, common example is nothing but Lexi, nothing but a document editor. So whatever the document is manipulating means modifying, writing, reading, deleting, adding, whatever. So all the manipulating of the document can be also one of the example for factory method pattern. Why? Because we are taking the two abstractions. One is application and document. So we can take the manipulating the document. It is nothing but one of the known use. Next, coming to the related pattern. So abstract factory is totally closely related pattern for this factory method pattern. And coming to here, we are using the prototypical instance to be create a document or to create a my application. So that's why we'll define the prototype also a one of the related pattern. Next, coming to the in the implementation technique, we are using the template method to be created. Template. So for that purpose, template method pattern also supports to this factory method pattern. So these are all the three related patterns. One is abstract factory, prototype, and template method. So this is about the factory method pattern. Enter factory method pattern. I think hope you understood about this pattern. So thank you very much.